Hi there, Spencer Bronte. We're back with Fact Time number 7 today. So I'm going to talk about a subject which, yet again, you've heard me say this already, I really, really love. I had a request to talk about science fiction, and that's good because I was going to talk about it anyway. And the thing about fiction that I love, it does many, many different things for us, but one of my favorite things about fiction is that it gives us the ability to think about things that we wouldn't normally encounter in our daily lives. Sometimes it gives us the ability to think about things that we will never ever encounter, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to use fiction as a learning tool, or we're going to say hi to Godzilla again. We briefly looked at Godzilla in an earlier episode, but we're going to do a little bit of a halfway deep dive, but also halfway basic touch on Godzilla. Deep dive in the sense that it's much more than you would normally get, and just scratching the surface in the sense that there are way over 30 movies about Godzilla, comics, books, games, all sorts of things. So we're just going to talk about a little bit about that. So, like we talked about earlier, Godzilla in its original form, here as you see a model of the 1954 Godzilla called Gojira in Japanese. Godzilla was a U.S. mispronunciation. It was American mispronunciation and misspelling. Gojira is Gojira, and it loosely translates to gorilla whale, and you can kind of see why. It's big and bulky, kind of like a gorilla. It makes sense because Godzilla was actually indirectly inspired by King Kong. King Kong inspired the movie 20,000, The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. Fantastic film if you get the chance to see it. That's a four-legged predatory reptile that is awoken from the Arctic and with some nuclear testing, and the Japanese saw this and thought that this was super great. Couldn't do the stop motion animation because that was largely done by Ray Harryhausen alone at that point, and they wanted some shots of buildings falling down, certain things that they couldn't get in stop motion animation, so they had someone in a suit. That's the gorilla part, and the whale part. This point of the series, and in most of the Godzilla films, Godzilla is a creature that lives beneath the sea. So where this design comes from, it's actually quite fascinating. In this part, we're just going to touch on more of Godzilla's body and things of that sort. The skin actually is designed after, and this is a little gruesome, my apologies, is designed after the skin of the victims of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So it's based off of radiation burns. I think I might be talking about the history of Godzilla. There's some fascinating cultural and other historical things that Godzilla came out of, but we won't be getting that today. So we're just going to look at the dinosaur aspects of Godzilla. Godzilla was supposed to be a radioactive dinosaur, in a sense. Nuclear testing created this beast, at least in the first film. Not all the films follow this storyline, but most of them come from this, come from the storyline of the first film. So they hint that Godzilla may have been a combination of two different species, and that would be T-Rex, Tyrannosaurus Rex, and Stegosaurus. So we see Tyrannosaurus Rex right here. You guys have seen these models before if you've watched all my videos, and here's Stegosaurus. So you can see where you get a carnivorous animal on two legs with two smaller front arms, front limbs, arms here, and then you get these spines here on the back, and that is replicated in what we see here with Godzilla, with these big dorsal spines. They're a little bit more ornate than Stegosaurus just because they were having fun, I guess, in making Godzilla, and you can see here the similarity between Tyrannosaurus Rex and Godzilla. Now, we view Tyrannosaurus Rex this way scientifically, and we know it actually walked this way now. But at the time, in the 50s, they actually did not know this, and therefore the movie went with this upright posture, which we now know would pretty much break the hip of most dinosaurs like Tyrannosaurus Rex. So the model of T-Rex they were looking at, or the style they were looking at, is this kind of Tyrannosaurus Rex. Not this model in particular. This is a modern model made in an old style, just for fun. But this is kind of the T-Rex that people would have thought of if they were thinking of T-Rex in the 50s. So this is what they were looking at with Godzilla. This is the concept they would have had in their minds when they were trying to create Godzilla. So imagine this animal combined with spines from this. Let's do it right there. There you kind of have Godzilla. And that is what we see replicated here with the 1954 Gojira. This was brought over to America in 1956 under the title Godzilla King of the Monsters. It was reshot, re-edited, and all sorts of things were done, but that is something I would like to get into in another episode. This will be part 1 of my Godzilla series, so strap in. This is going to be a multi-part series, and I love Godzilla, so we're going to talk about it a lot. All of my friends who have already heard me talk about Godzilla or had the unfortunate experience to sit through a Godzilla movie with me already know this. This is going to be a while, so have fun. And thanks for watching. Comment if you like. Let me know what you might be interested for further videos. Thank you. Bye.